So here we are again with the Center for Education and Learning and the speaker series live. And as announced before, the second recording, so to say, so I have the pleasure again to speak with Peter. Peter Maxwell Slattery. Peter, welcome.
Always good, mate. Always good to do this.
Yeah, and as I said, or as we mentioned, so the topic is Ascension. And we get into the first question directly. How does forgiveness play a role in the Ascension process?
A lot. It's a huge part of it, I think, from experience and from knowledge, and doesn't mean I know everything. I'll give it a little bit of a preface with this. As I've alluded to and we've talked about before, I've got a lot of experiences with what some might call ghost hunting or paranormal investigations and dealing with spirits, as well as extraterrestrials and angelic and other forms of intelligences. In so many cases where you've got hauntings or spirits that still will occupy a certain area, sort of emotional to talk about because it's a huge effect. Meaning, when you can communicate with these spirits, they're not dead. They're just in they're in another form. They talk a lot about, or what the point is of them being in a certain area, not transitioning, of what they wish they could have done, what they did and they weren't happy about, how they could have lived life better, how they could have loved more. In a lot of cases, I mean, this is in a lot of different cases. And what's holding them in that frequency is an attachment that's illusionary, of wanting to live vicariously through others sometimes. You could say a mild form of possession, though not really, but in a way of influencing environments, not wanting environments to change, which is where hauntings spark up. Not wanting to move on because they're so attached to a place that they built or that they spent time. It's the illusion. Because in a lot of cases I assist beings going and transitioning on. And once they get into that space, a veil's gone now, and whoa, that's just one chapter in the book of my soul. I've done all these other things. I've experienced all these. Whoa, look how big and beautiful the universe is. But because of the feeling, a dense feeling, and in a lot of cases, not one, forgiving others, which for some is extreme, but in some cases not being able to forgive themselves. It's a lower vibratorial state. So forgiving yourself and forgiving others I see is equally important as each other, but it's hugely important and impactful on the ascension process. You will never cut off from source. There is never a situation that you will never go back to the divine. There is never a situation where you will never ascend. But in the illusion of time, the length of time that will take depends on the individual. And when one is stubborn, when one is trapped in their ways, when one can't forgive others, have compassion for others. And I know there are extreme cases when we're talking about murders and rapes and they did me wrong this way, that and the other. If you can't forgive and move on, it doesn't mean you don't forget. But the forgiveness in some cases is better for you to do first, for you to move on, and then the other bit can really kick in later, meaning the forgiveness of the other person. But if you're not going to forgive that person for your own peace of mind and your own sanity, and I'm trying to water this down, because if somebody's not coming at it from where I'm coming at it, it's going to seem like, can't do it, They don't deserve it, this, that, the other. They're stuck in a low vibratorial state. That's what's affecting them as being in that state. So forgiveness is a huge thing, and I think compassion, non-judgment, doing what you can to put yourself in somebody else's shoes momentarily, though you'll never understand, but their circumstances, what was going through their mind, what was occurring, was it a fight or flight reaction, why did they say it, why did they do it? These things can help lessen the impact and also assist with the forgiveness process, because we've all made mistakes, we've all screwed up. Don't let the past dictate who you are now and where you're going. If you're going to repeat those things, it's a projection of where you're going, and it will project into the present moment. There's no growth. But you can change your story at any moment, and that will start with forgiveness in a lot of cases, not just for somebody else, but also for yourself. So I know there's a bit there, Henning. I don't know if that's answering it in a roundabout way or what have you. I've got no idea, but I think that's just where Spirit wanted that one to go.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. And I just want to add, just briefly. So, as said in the recording before, there's love, there's self-love, and there is forgiveness, and there is also self-forgiveness. Anyway, let's move on to the second question. How does one share their light with the world to play their part in the ascension process?
By following their passion, which is their purpose. And it will change. There are gifts, there are talents, there's abilities that we all have. We can all do anything and everything. But through the book of our soul, through past and future lives, because they're all happening at the same time, there are things we've got access to. Things that we're just inherently from the soul good at. For some it might be healing, for some it might be teaching, for some it can be a variety of different disciplines, not just, one thing. Don't put yourself in a box with this, but when you're doing what you love and what you're passionate about, that joy is a spark of God. Just like when we're making love, or we're doing pleasurable things with others, or we're having fun together, or you see a band performing together and the energy's just bouncing off of each other. It's through that passion, it's through that love that we share that light with the world. Again, if you're in a lower vibratorial state, you're blocking that off. And yes, there's bills, there's this, there's that, the other. And as I say to people, if you're not going to make a change, you're going to keep repeating this. So I would ask people, and it's not about money though, money in abundance, I call cosmic abundance, comes with it. It's not just finances, it will be relationships, experiences, networking, health, happiness. All these things are cosmic abundance that comes with it when you're living your purpose and you're living your passion. So I would ask people that are in a state right now that they may feel like there's no hope and they feel like they've got nothing to offer. What do you enjoy? Can you spend 15 minutes to an hour a day, even if you've got a full-time job, of trying to make that something you can do full-time? It's a snowball effect. You start giving it energy, it's going to build up. Before you know it, it's building up, it's building up, it's building up, it's building up. And it can be something that's viable to be doing full-time. But unless you're going to put the energy into it, unless you're going to have the frustration that you know you're better than what you are now, and I'm not putting anyone down, but if you're not happy working in a 9-to-5 job, if you're not happy doing whatever it is that you're doing, what are you going to do to make something, occur to make that change happen? Because, it does come down to the thing that no one else is going to make these changes. The universe and God will meet you halfway, but you have to get out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to make some choices. And those choices are going to be scary because, as I say, it's fear of the unknown and fear of security that stop people from thriving. And they're the two things getting back to your question, that will stop people from sharing their light with the world. And that's where sometimes you just got to say stuff it and go all out. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to be miserable with where you are already. And that's where once you go through those periods, you find the light, and you find the light was within all along, and you find potential in that. You find strength in that. You find things that you wouldn't find any other way, and it's through those hard times and that uncertainty that you find all these things you got access to, and it was sitting right here all along.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. I want to add, I heard a guru from India speaking about what we bring to this world. And maybe it's fitting in well here. One thing could be, one might think, we want to and need to learn about spirituality and these concepts. And in the best case, we can transmit them, teach them, and others will understand them. Mm-hmm. And that guru said, basically, you can try that. And in the best case, you make it absolutely precise and to the point to one person, hopefully to many others, but he still says it will probably not work ultimately because everyone is different, and even the best students will not get everything. And even the best teacher will not get everything across. And that, he said, it is equally, if not even more important, if you enjoy, for example, playing football or soccer. It's maybe even better to do that than to do the other thing. And again, he said these two things, and in other words, he says, yeah, it's equally important to do this or whatever, where you feel the purpose, the passion, or then the joy. And you bring this to the world, and others will recognize it, will recognize maybe you for that, or one for that. But in any case, it makes a difference on a collective and on an individual level to bring that higher expression out and into the world. And it can also be these things like being patient or bringing peace into the world.
Yeah, look, and a lot of this, from my experience, will involve service to others. If you really think about what you love doing and what you're passionate about, there will be a form of service to others naturally embedded in that. But that teacher, that guru is right. I've worked with thousands of people now, and what I can tell you is that in a lot of cases, I talk about the zone in my self-mastery book and some of the teaching material. I've got 13 books out there, and I noticed this a while back. And of course, I'm training 3 different types of yoga and meditation, and there's a whole plethora of things. I've spent 15 years dedicated pretty much full time to this journey of self-exploration and discovery through the experiences that led me to this. But my point with this is that when you're looking at this, you might be trying to mimic what others do. Now, in the last 15 years, I've done 7.5 years of meditation, sometimes 8 to 12 hours a day, mixed in with remote viewing. Sometimes while I was working a part-time job for 4 hours a day, which helped me get by in that period. Now, I did so much learning, and I continue now. I'm always doing courses and education, talking to teachers, some of the top people on the planet, because they can learn from me about the extraterrestrial multidimensional mind aspect in a different way. And there's a thing with this that I've found that, and why I've learned all these different things with NLP and hypnotherapy and Ho'oponopono and all these different things, is because I wanted to learn the tools and the mechanics, because everyone's different. And in a lot of cases, I talk about the zone, that place that's like you're daydreaming. And people go, I can't sit and meditate. I can't do it for 2 minutes. How am I going to do it for 10 days like I've done, where I've done meditation for 10 days straight? Or you do darkness for a few days and you're just sitting in complete darkness. Most people can't do that. And they don't have to do that. But then I'd ask them a question, where do you get into a zone? Like you're driving a car and you forget about time, or when you were sitting at school and you just start zoning out, daydreaming. Oh, I do that when I swim. Well, that's what you do then. You enjoy swimming laps? Yeah? Well, you go to the pool 3 times a week at least. Even if you do a few laps, that's your meditation. You don't have to be doing the stuff that I'm doing. And, you know, or what others are doing, what you're being told. You find what gets you in the zone. And what I say is mix that up as well. That zone is no mind. That no mind is God's mind. All is sitting in that space. And through that, it can be revitalizing. It can be uplifting. It can be insightful. But that is keeping you at a high vibratorial state, which means you're sharing that light and that joy with the world. So it could be football. You know, it could be anything. As long as it's not, you know, soul depleting where, you know, it's drugs, this, that, the other, or, you know, a lot of the times, in most cases, that's people doing things like that to get away from the pain and heal and move on. They're trying to deal with life. It prevents them from making the changes to make a change in your life. This is where you've got to have that, excuse language again, that positive pissed off moment. That I'm going to grab life by the balls and I'm going to do something about this. And what can you do? Assess what you can do and own your part in this. But the most simplistic things can be the most joyful things. You know, the old saying, what's the old saying? It's something in words to the effect of the best things in life are free. 100%. We've just got to reconnect with that and acknowledge that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And let's get to this question. Why is the human experience on Earth so relevant for Ascension?
Because it's bipolar. That's a joke. It's very dense. When we're happy, we're happy. When we're negative. There is the illusion of separation in this embedded in it. And my understanding with the contacts that I've had is the vessel that we're experiencing this reality through is a conglomerate of many, many different extraterrestrials. And we're like a super being in the 3D realm that doesn't realise its full potential. And there is in some part of this, it's not ours to own, it's negative influences, but it's raising our frequency above those influences that we find that full potential. When we love, we love. When we hate. Humans are such strong, powerful beings, and because of that, it comes back to the simplistic, basic thing of where your attention goes, energy flows, as the saying goes. And because of the illusion of separation, because of the intensity and the amplification of our energies and our thoughts in the physical realm, which as above, so below, we think of something through thought, all of a sudden we start to attract these things in the physical realm that are in line with what that thought was, whether positive or negative. If self-mastery is used in this experience, this is the school of all schools, that we have even got capabilities of what the angelics do, which is basically what we are. And Elohim in some ways a form of angelic intelligence, which we all are. And this is why some of these intelligences are trying to glean stuff of us, not from just a physical way, but a light blueprint level, to incorporate back with them, because the touch, the hug, the smell, the taste, the love that you can feel in this way is not quite like anywhere else. When I'm taken to the celestial kingdoms, the angelic kingdoms and the geometric light realms, and I merge with Source, that love is incomprehensible to even explain. But this is a different love. This is an expression of God's mind. The love in this experience and part of that ascension process is knowledge for Source itself. We are all pinpoints of awareness within God's body that go out within it to experience and glean knowledge and ascend back to that stage. And because of that, there's many situations set up for that soul evolutionary process. And the human experience, again, because of what we perceive as limitations and separation, if you can get through that soul growth, for that pinpoint of awareness, that cell of God's body, you can ascend from this state, you can do anything. And that's where, like, the new school, the new lessons that are going to happen beyond the human experience and the ascension process are incomprehensible at this time. Like I say to people, the ETs are still, if they're ET, they're trying to ascend. They haven't ascended fully yet. They're in a higher state of consciousness. They can be in whatever D that you want, 6D, 7D. They're still wanting to get to that next level. And then you've got beings that are masters, that have gotten, we could say, in the peripheral of the angelic kingdom and source, that they decide to be of service to others and masters and help others as spirit guide, this, that and the other. And I can go a lot deeper than that as well, but my point with all that is that this is all about soul evolution, and because of what we're perceiving on earth with the denseness and the limitations, if you can get through that, you find that spark of the divine within you, and that rises you above anything and all else. But like I say, the first thing I do every morning is I ask God, Source Creator, how can I be a vehicle for you to work through and assist others? And I accept the blessings and abundance that comes with it. Because of that, I've gone leaps and bounds. Doesn't mean I know it all. I think we all do. In an out-of-body state, we've got access to all that is, and we do know it all. The human brain can't comprehend all that. So, a roundabout way, answering that question, there is a bit to it, because there are many beings and civilizations out there that would do anything to experience what we're experiencing here as the earth human being, with the potential that we've got. There's a lot of jealousy out there as well, but you can't just jump into this earth human experience. You've got to be at a certain level to be able to handle it. And that's why right now, and anyone that's coming here, the powerful of the powerful, it doesn't mean there's any hierarchy in any of this. And there are some cases where beings have come here directly from source and they've got to download other people's experiences to handle it. Because it's so dense, it's like the biggest test. It's like, you sure you're ready for it? Just remember this is a game. I'm not going to remember when I go in. That's really what it is in a lot of cases. I'm lucky in that area that I've got memories and of course the experiences and everything going on, and following my path. And there's a lot out there doing the same thing, but sometimes that forgottenness gets you the results of what's needed, which is part of why there's the forgotten illusion of not remembering who and what you are.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. So a couple of more points. So first one is, we need also, or it is sometimes beneficial to have humor, or to use it to heal. Then this planet or Earth is so relevant because it said the Creator has created here something as elsewhere, very unique, but some say this planet was created in this universe first. Some say the human being, as you also said, Peter, we have, or those who incarnated here, the humans now here, have some potential. Some say we can say it's potency. In any case, say, all right, said the human being has the ability to co-create. Whatever that is, that potential, that own ability to co-create, just want to highlight. Identify it for yourself and be the best version of yourself. But of course, you can choose, everyone can choose a different trajectory because there is also free will. And then other beings. And that is also true for us. One is maybe here and there spiritually more advanced, but it said some extraterrestrials or beings from other planets are definitely compared to, because what has happened on this planet, spiritually advanced. But on a simple level, again, what we highlighted, find love, find forgiveness, and as maybe a bit counterintuitive or a bit strange as it sounds at first, some say what humanity brings to the table is actually the element of love and forgiveness. We have this here more developed than in any other place of the universe or multiverse, because here we went through and are going through so many things, and love and forgiveness are key aspects, I would say, to master this. And then something totally different still to that. So it's not totally different, but I want to add it here. Well, I'm called to add it. So I mentioned, for those who listened here to these recordings, a couple of months ago, I was on a travel from Bhutan to Thailand. And actually, but I did not mention it in the recording, also a couple of weeks again. And actually, it was even more of a stretch. I even did a journey, was really a flight around the world in only a couple of days. It's not about highlighting this, but it's more. I want to highlight a specific thing. I got a message in there, which I will share now. And again, do with that what you want. Use your discernment. But the thing is, what I got was a kind of message. I overheard a conversation from the Creator into the universe. And the source or Creator said basically a message about the Ascension. And that, in a simple summary, every being should recognize what is happening here, should realize what is happening here. As I said in 2 recordings before, it has come with that strong message from Creator to the realization of all. It was brought forward. It was kind of a really call to recognize that it is so crucial that species and other beings recognize, be aware what is going on here. And basically, everyone is called to move forward and move on. And it's, as I said it also, it's basically, we can say, a no-brainer. The frequency will be raised in any case. It's said. The frequencies will be amplified in any case. It can be done, of course, up and down. And some are still ongoing with things in let's say, a certain direction. But the Creator has basically chosen to go what we can best describe as on an upside. And again, here, what we are called here to do is one way or the other. Call it love, call it forgiveness. Identify whatever is your purpose and your mission and what you can best bring to the world. Call it that, self-mastery, but ultimately also recognize there's mystery out there, and hopefully it all plays out well, because one way or the other, it will all be brought together. Source or Creator has, in any case, that potency and that potential and that power. And maybe one more thought. I, on purpose, and I didn't know about it, spoke about the protector. I will, in another recording, speak about that, because I also got some more information about that. But anyway, a lot of information and hopefully good news, but ultimately I guarantee it's not about me, it's Creator. It is beneficial for all, this process. It might be hard to understand what this is, why the Ascension is so important, and why it is so relevant, also what is happening here, and why it is really not only relevant here for those who are living here, but it is relevant for everyone. And maybe just to give a hint, again, a war might happen there and it might be still far away, but ultimately just project it going forward. If that expands, it is no good for no one, and any kind of these things which are not good must be stopped, and it is turned around. It must be turned around, but it will ultimately, in any case, be turned around with the whole power of creation and Creator, Him, herself, however we call that.
And in the light we unite. Either way.
Yeah. So, Peter, anything to add?
No, I think we've covered quite a lot. I think it's a lot of food for thought for other people. And I've seen where it all ends up, and I know it's all beautiful. I can't prove that. I can't show that. I know that from experience, but just be the best version of yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. Have compassion and let your light shine through just being the best you and being joyful, having balance, and each day doing something to bring some light to somebody else's life.
Okay. So again, all the best and all of the best for all.
Blessings.